Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, Kingston phone technician charged with rape. A 27-year-old phone technician has been charged with rape and a forcible abduction following an incident at his residence in Kingston on April 19. Charged by the Center for Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse is Tevin Mary of Maiden Lane in Kingston. Reports from the police are that on the aforementioned date, a young lady visited Mary to pay for and to collect a phone she had given him to repair. It is alleged that upon her arrival, she attempted to pay him, but he refused the sum and forcibly pushed her into his house, where he sexually assaulted her. A report was made to the police, and the accused man was taken into custody during an operation. He was formally charged on Monday, April 28, after a question and answer session. Mary is scheduled to appear in court on Thursday, May 9. 60-year-old man killed by tractor trailer along Lakes Bend Main Road. Donovan Booth, a 60-year-old man of a Fairview address in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, died after being hit by a tractor trailer on the Lakes Bend Main Road around 8:30 a.m. Tuesday. Reports indicate that Booth was attempting to cross the road when the incident occurred. He was taken to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he later died from his injuries. The St. Catherine South police are investigating. New bill seeks to mandate 15 years in prison before parole eligibility for children convicted of murder. The government is moving forward with legislation that, if passed, will see children convicted of capital murder being sentenced to a minimum 30 years in prison with parole eligibility after 15 years. That and other provisions were outlined by Justice Minister Delroy Chuck in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, after extensive deliberations by a joint select committee dating far back as 2023. The Child Care and Protection Amendment, Criminal Justice Administration Amendment, and the Offences Against the Person Amendment bills will now move through both houses of Parliament for possible enactment. In asking for the full support of all members, Mr. Chuck reiterated that the bills represent a necessary and deliberate response to the levels of violent crime in the society, particularly those involving the most heinous offense, murder. The government had attracted the ire of child rights groups after it initially proposed an amendment to the Child Care and Protection Act to allow the courts to set a minimum sentence of 20 years before a minor found guilty of murder becomes eligible for parole. UNICEF and the Office of the Children's Advocate had voiced a strong opposition to that provision when they appeared before the Joint Select Committee, saying any sentence imposed should be decided by a presiding judge. Taking cognizance of that concern, Mr. Chuck told the House on Tuesday that it was hoped that the reduction to 15 years before parole eligibility now reflects the balance, not only the punishment of the offender, but also reposes in the family of the victim how this Parliament feels. He said the government is seeking to assure that the provisions in the bills are carefully designed to be proportionate, constitutional, and respectful of the rights of all persons, including the right to due process and the possibility of rehabilitation in cases where it is genuinely warranted. MP renews call for Mile Gully High to get a new school plant. Member of Parliament for Manchester North Western, Michael Phillips, is continuing his agitation for a new plant for Mile Gully High School in his constituency. Mr. Phillips says 13 years after his appeal, the Ministry of Education is nowhere closer to making the request a reality, despite a pronouncement that the plans for the school are far advanced. He restated the inadequacy of the aging school plant, which he says has only 5 habitable classrooms and are not conducive for learning.
So we're nowhere closer than where we were a few years ago. But we are expecting to hear something from the Ministry of Education. I have been told by the Permanent Secretary that they are far advanced in the drawings, but we don't want the engagement. We want the marriage now. We want the Mile Gully High School. Transportation has been one. We are fortunate at Mile Gully High School that we have 2 school buses at Mile Gully High School. It was one of the things that I ensured that the school had, to be able to support its programs and also to transport students from all corners of the constituency to get to school in a timely manner. But where we're lacking are facilities, football fields, netball courts, just the basic sporting facilities. Schools like Mile Gully High School are left behind.
ECJ makes a political ombudsman appointment. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck wants the Electoral Commission of Jamaica to provide details surrounding the terms and the engagement of an individual now functioning in the role of the political ombudsman. The name of the individual was not stated. The office of the political ombudsman was subsumed into the ECJ in February 2024. Under this regime, the ECJ has a responsibility to monitor and to take action against those who breach the political code of conduct. Critics argue that the consolidation has weakened the oversight and accountability mechanisms of political activities. In recent times, there have been complaints that the Commission has been silent amid heightened political activities for the general election, which is due in September. In a statement Wednesday, Chuck disclosed that he has been advised that an individual has been appointed to carry out the field of functions previously conducted by the then standalone political ombudsman. I understand that the Electoral Commission of Jamaica has also been undertaking the work of the political ombudsman to include receiving complaints and related matters concerning the previously held local government elections. According to him, the $60 million provided for in the national budget for the 2024-2025 financial year for matters related to the role and the functions of that office was not used by the ECJ. It appears that expenses in relation to the role and the function of the political ombudsman are now funded from the ECJ's budget, Chuck noted. With this new development, I am now urging the ECJ to provide the details surrounding the terms and engagement of the individual now functioning in the role of the previous office of the political ombudsman, as well as how members of the public can contact that office with election-related matters. Trelawny police theorized Tuesday night's shooting of 3 men at a bar was revenge for murder of Stone. The Trelawny police believe that the shooting of 3 men at a bar in Marthabury on Tuesday night was a reprisal attack for the murder of 32-year-old Courtney Reed, also known as Stone, who was shot and killed at a garage in the same community earlier this month. Reports are that about 9:15 p.m., 2 unknown assailants pounced upon patrons at a bar and opened gunfire. After the shooting, 3 men were found suffering from gunshot wounds and taken to hospital, where they were admitted for treatment. Commander of the Trelawny Police Division, Superintendent Winston Milton, revealed that the police are pursuing strong leads into Tuesday night's gun attack. We believe that this matter is connected to the shooting at the garage in the community earlier this month. We are pursuing some strong leads and hope to bring the matter to a closure in short order, Superintendent Milton told the news. Shortly after 9 a.m. on Friday, April 4, Reed had exited a vehicle he had parked at a garage when he was attacked by unidentified assailants who shot him several times. He died on the spot. Package with Maria Dean's pants denied again from being entered into evidence. Supreme Court Judge Justice Courtney Day, who is currently presiding over the Maria Dean case, has rejected attempts to have a pair of pants belonging to the deceased admitted into evidence. The ruling was made earlier today in the Westmoreland Circuit Court during the trial of the 3 cops charged with the incident in which Dean was fatally beaten while in police custody in 2014. The three accused are Corporal Elaine Stewart, District Constables Marlon Grant and Juliana Cleavon, all of whom are charged with manslaughter and misconduct in a public office. This is the second time that the package marked F has been denied from entering into evidence. On March 6, the Crown asked Supreme Court Judge Justice Courtney Day to allow the pair of pants to be shown to Dean's mother, Mercia Fraser. However, Dalton Reed, the lawyer representing Cleavon, objected on the grounds that there was nothing provided to say that Fraser knew the pants. The showing of the pants to the mother was later denied by Justice Day. Then, on Monday, April 28, the Crown made another attempt when a forensic officer with 25 years' experience, the Crown's 11th witness to testify in court, testified virtually by the Zoom platform. The witness was unable to clearly see a pair of pants presented by the prosecutor, and as a result, another attempt was made today. The Crown asked Justice Day for permission to go further in having the item identified. However, this was denied by the judge. We cannot go any further with this witness. That is as far as she can go with her evidence, stated Justice Day. While the Crown tried to bring further clarity to having the item identified, Justice Day further argued, "It is marked for identity, and I am saying that this witness cannot put it into evidence." She cannot go any further, added Justice Day. The allegations in the case are that Dean was arrested for possession of a ganja spliff and placed in custody, where he was brutally beaten on August 3, 2014. He sustained severe injuries to his brain, which left him in a coma. He died 3 days later at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. It is alleged that the three cops were on duty at the police station when Dean was beaten. It is further alleged that Stewart, who has an additional charge of perverting the course of justice, instructed that the cell in which the attack took place be cleaned before the arrival of investigators from the Independent Commission of Investigations. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.